Welcome to tonight's Jewish Studies and Jewish Student Life virtual open house. We are thrilled to have you all participating from wherever you are across the country and possibly even internationally. My name is Devin Thompson. I'm Senior Associate Director for Admissions Events at the College of Charleston. And again, just want to give you all a very warm welcome. A few housekeeping items before we get started tonight. You can definitely keep your screens on. We want this to be pretty interactive where you can see other students who are interested in pursuing Jewish studies or being involved with JSU at the College of Charleston. But while we're having the presenters speak and our panelists speak, do keep your mic on mute. I would also recommend keeping your screen on side-by-side speaker view. That way you can see the presentation as well as who's speaking this evening. Excuse me. So this is a run through of what information we're going to cover tonight. We're going to get started with an admissions presentation given by our Associate Director for Admissions, Rebecca Drury. Some of you may even be familiar with Rebecca. She covers a wide territory that some of you all are attending from this evening. After the admissions presentation, we're going to hear from Deb Silver, the Hillel Director for a Jewish Student Life and Hillel Overview. After that, we will hear from Yaron Elon, a Jewish Studies Overview, and we will conclude with a student panel featuring current CofC students. So we have a great evening prepared for you all, and we're going to get started. So with that, Rebecca, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Devin, and good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Rebecca Drury. I am an associate director here at the College of Charleston, and I recruit students from Virginia, Maryland, DC, and West Virginia. And so it's good to see some of my students out there tonight. But we're going to get started with that basic overview of the College of Charleston. And I always love starting with this slide here because you really can see just how the city of Charleston is such an impact in our students' day-to-day lives. But for that quick overview, if Devin, you'll go to the next one. These are our main facts and things that everyone is dying to know. We are that public liberal arts university. We have right at about 10,000 undergraduate students, but a very small class average at about 23. 16-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So you really do get to know your classmates, get to know your professors. And for some of you out there, that class average may be even smaller than what you're used to in high school already. So we love having our professors get to know the students and students getting to know their professors. I remember during my time at the college, my largest class was only about 55 of us. In my smallest class, there was only about 12 of us. So we really pride ourselves on those one-on-one relationships that students create with those professors. But it also allows our students, to really get a broad sense of that liberal arts education. And you can see here we have over 140 different majors and minors to choose from, with those top 5 most popular amongst students being in the bottom left-hand corner. With that, though, students can double major. They can have a major and a minor. You can do a major and 2 minors. Students are really able to pick and choose their educational path at the College of Charleston. I, for example, was a communication major with a leadership minor, but if I wanted to study hospitality as my major with a geology minor, 2 very different things, but at the College of Charleston, you can do both. You'll see too that students are coming from 48 different states and territories and about 62 different countries. So you will get to know students from all over, even parts of South Carolina that you may have never been to. But I was from Virginia in my sweet freshman year. My roommate was from Florida, and my 2 suite mates were from Atlanta and Portland, Oregon. So we have a wide student body coming from all across the US and even abroad. But with that, maybe you want to take your education abroad at the college. We have multiple study abroad opportunities, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Just wanted to highlight them here. But you'll see too a little bit of that student life. Of course, we'll talk more of it when we get into the Hillel. But we do have 19 Division I sports teams on campus. We don't have football, but I like to say it's because we're still too busy being on the beach during football weekends, because I guarantee you it'll be about 80 degrees this weekend, whereas here in Virginia, it's only going to be about 65, 70. But we then have over 240 clubs and organizations, everything ranging from those religious life groups, political groups, belly dancing club, club and intramural sports, as well as Greek life. We're only about 20% Greek on campus, but definitely another option for our students to get involved. Here we do have some of our internship and employment opportunities. Our students are really going above and beyond and getting out of the classroom and getting that hands-on experience, whether it's through an internship or a job. A lot of these on your screen as well will even have or will be in Charleston. So Mercedes-Benz, Boeing, Boomtown, all are located right in Charleston. So it's not hard for our students to get and have these internships even during their school year. Another one I always like to highlight is that Medical University of South Carolina. If anyone out there is interested in the health field, we do have the #1 teaching hospital in the state right down the street from us for students to get internships, research hours, shadow opportunities, and then of course, continuing their education down at the medical university. We do have a fantastic career center that allows students to come in and get help on those resumes, interview practice, cover letters, as well as alums, we also receive access to the Career Center even after our time at the college. So there's a lot of great opportunities for students to get out of the classroom and get that hands-on experience through these internships and employment opportunities. Next slide. Oh no, Devin looks like she's frozen. Oh no, we lost Devin. Sorry, y'all. 2 seconds. Let me pull up my screen. Or I have a PowerPoint. Hang on. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to share this with y'all and we will get that going. Alrighty, sorry, y'all. Here. So here are a few of our notable alums where you can see where people have really taken their College of Charleston education. Everyone from Mike Gomer, who's the president of Vineyard Vines, Matt Zuckery, for any of those Gilmore Girl fans out there. So really you can see that the College of Charleston education is taking students very near and far, and maybe we'll see your face on here one day as well. A few fun facts about the College of Charleston, or about the city of Charleston, because we are located right in the heart of downtown. We are the #1 city in the US by Travel and Leisure for 8 years in a row. There are 3 beaches nearby, like I mentioned, so take your pick. If any of you watched Outer Banks during quarantine on Netflix, Outer Banks is filmed in in Charleston, and I saw a bunch of students yesterday actually, go down to the Battery because Outer Banks was filming down there yesterday. So there's always something happening in the city of Charleston, whether it's the movies filming, the festivals, the food in Charleston is absolutely fantastic. The parks, we're not your typical city by any means. We do have a lot of that green space for students to be able to have a chance to get out and sit and learn. This picture right behind me is the Cistern Yard, one of those amazing green spaces. And it is actually where we have graduation. We do not graduate like many other schools. We actually wear all white to graduation. The women will wear white dresses or white jumpsuits, whatever they please, and men tend to wear white dinner jackets with a red rose boutonniere. So it's a very traditional, very, very symbolic ceremony to the College of Charleston, and just a little fun fact about the college. But you can also see that average weather. You know, some of you may be coming from New England or out west. average weather in Charleston, as you can see, is pretty great. Low on average is about 43 in January. I'll never forget or 2 years ago, January of 2018, it snowed 6 inches in Charleston, and it was like the apocalypse happened. Rumor has it that there's only one snowplow in the state of South Carolina, and at that point in time, it happened to be in the upstate. And so we were out of school, out of work for about 2, 3, 4 days. So just another advantage of going to school in the South for you. I want to highlight our honors college for anyone who is interested in an honors college. I like to describe it as it is very, it's not necessarily harder. It's just a different way of learning. It's a little bit more discussion based. Service learning is going to be thrown in there with a lot of mentorship opportunities. It's really for those students looking for that added challenge and looking to be even more motivated in their classes. You can see what they're looking for here. Looking for mainly A's on that transcript. We as a college as a whole and the honors college are test score optional. So this is, those test scores are just the mid 50%. So if students, you have had the chance to take those tests and are wondering if you might be a good fit, then those are the mid 50%. But like I said, they are first and foremost looking at that transcript with a few other things as well. So just a little bit on the honors college. We can definitely reach out to your counselors to learn more about it, but just wanted to highlight it here. These are our application deadlines for any seniors and juniors, especially. These are some important dates to keep in mind. You will see our early decision deadline has passed for this year, but it is October 15th. It's going to be binding, and students do receive a decision by December 1st. Our early action deadline is that you apply by December 1st and you hear back by February 1st. This is where the majority of our students will apply. It's where we see the majority of those applications come in. But we also, again, have that regular notification deadline of February 15th, and you hear back by April 1st. And the biggest thing to note on here is that as long as students apply by February 15th of senior year, they are automatically considered for merit-based scholarships. No extra essay, no extra application or anything is needed to be considered for those scholarships. These are some of our stats as well as tuition numbers. We at the college, again, are completely test optional and are mainly looking at your transcript for that AB average. We don't have an exact GPA simply because, you know, a 3.5 at a school in Virginia might be different than a 3.5 at a school in New York. So looking at your school individually and the courses you've taken versus the courses that are offered, looking for that AB average. Again, completely test optional, and I'm going to keep saying it because we truly mean it. But those are our mid 50% of what students have scored in the past. Definitely work with your counselors, your parents, us at the college to determine whether or not you should apply as test optional or not. And then you'll see our average or our tuition for the current school year. These are also for out of state. I apologize if any in-state students are on here. I work primarily with out of state students, so this slideshow is geared towards them, but we can definitely highlight those if you have questions. But tuition for the current year for out of state students is right at about $32,800. with an average room and board of about $12,300. We say an average simply because our residence life and our room and board is on a tier system. So some residence halls and meal plans are more expensive than others and what have you. But I highly recommend going on YouTube and taking a look at all of the residence halls. We were able to get new videos, new 360-degree 4K videos of those residence halls. So I highly recommend going to check those out. And finally, we are on the Common App. So if you have any concerns with our application or Common App, you know, we're here to help, but we have no preference as to which one you choose. But besides the actual application, the only other thing we need from y'all are your transcripts. So definitely, we know it's crazy time for y'all, and want to be sure that we make it as easy as possible. But definitely reach out to us with any questions. Again, this is my information because I had to pull up this slide really quickly. But you can see the main admissions information down here at the bottom. But feel free to get in touch with us, put your questions in the chat. But for now, I don't think, Devin, were you able to join us again? There we go. Devin is back. So I'm going to turn it over to Devin if
Thank you, Rebecca, and thanks everyone for your patience. It's never a dull moment with technology these days, right? So with that, I am again just going to thank Rebecca and remind you all, if you have any outstanding questions about the admissions process, or if you want to look into visiting campus, we are offering very limited campus tours right now for current seniors. To check out the virtual visitor center on our admissions website, and you can learn more about those opportunities there. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Deb Silver, our Hillel director at the College of Charleston, and she has some great information to share with you all. So Deb.
Hi there, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. So excited to tell you a little bit about Jewish student life at the College of Charleston, but really the students who will be on the student panel later in this call will be your best source of what it's really like to be a student here. I can speak to what I know from my experience working with the 500 Jewish students on campus, but they're living it. So my job and Hillel's job really is to make Jewish students feel welcome and supported on campus. And we do that in a lot of ways. Some of the ways that we are built to support Jewish students is that we have a kosher dining hall that's on the meal plan. I'd like to say it's one of the better dining halls on campus. I think some students might agree. And it's right next door to the Jewish Studies building. And that's a kosher, vegan, and vegetarian dining hall. And then we have kosher meat through Hillel meals. Hillel meals are twice a week. There's a Wednesday social dinner and a Friday Shabbat dinner. You can take Hebrew as your language requirement. So that's nice if you have any curiosity about Hebrew, if you want to brush up for your Hebrew school skills, continue on from your day school education, that fills your language requirement. And it also counts towards the Jewish Studies major or minor, which Yaron Ayalon, the director of the Jewish Studies program, we'll talk in a little bit, but he and I like to say it's the best second major, because everything that you have to take in your gen ed, every Jewish studies class will count towards one of your gen ed requirements, which is really nice. So you're going to have to take a history class anyway, humanities class anyway. Might as well take it with really interesting professors on subject matters that you care about, and probably with other Jewish students too. I would say probably most Jewish studies classes are about 50-50 Jews and non-Jews, which is larger in proportion to the college at large. Through Hillel, there are opportunities for paid and unpaid leadership development. So we have a student board that is elected by their peers that does programming. So there are typically like 2 to 3 outside of our meals and Shabbat, 2 to 3 student run and student led programs a week through the Hillel board. And then there are also different subgroups within Hillel that are student led. So there's a Holler for Hunger group. There's a Havara group that Shira Fink actually starts. Shira, I'm sure we'll talk about that when we do the panel. And I'm forgetting somebody right now. Holocaust Education Awareness Remembrance Group. And then there's a Jewish sorority and fraternity on campus respectively. So there's something between the Hillel board and all of the different organizations that we help support. There's something Jewish happening nearly every day on campus. And Jewish students, while it's only 5% of the population on paper, 500 students is a lot. And I like to think the 500 Jewish students happen to be extra involved around campus in the community. And you'll hear from the different students on this call, but in general, one of the things that I think is awesome for students at the College of Charleston is that you don't have to just pick one thing to be involved in. the college really wants students to be well-rounded, both in the classroom with your liberal arts education, where you might take some classes that you might not at first be interested in, but it contributes to your well-rounded education. And they want you to be well-rounded as a human being. So there's time and plenty of opportunities, like Rebecca was saying, 200 plus clubs on campus. And there's time to be a student leader in Hillel, and be on SGA and be involved in your sorority and have a part-time job. You really can do it all. And I know that sounds fake, that sounds phony, but the colleges and the Jewish Studies program is so supportive, and we will help you make it work. Let's see, I don't want to talk for too much longer, but I do want to make sure I hit everything. We do travel to Israel with Birthright twice a year when we can travel, when it's not a pandemic. And the Jewish Studies program has generous scholarships for students who want to study abroad in Israel. So you can study abroad in Israel nearly for free after your Birthright trip. And one thing that's nice is that, so scholarships, Rebecca touched on it a little bit, but scholarships, merit-based scholarships are just part of your application. You don't have to submit any additional applications to be considered for merit-based scholarships. You can jump in if that's incorrect.
Sorry, I was answering.
Merit-based scholarships, there's no additional application.
Correct, you got it.
So that's really nice, and that helps. Plus, Jewish Studies has a lot of scholarships available. We want any Jewish student who wants to come to College of Charleston to be able to come here and have money not be an issue. So the scholarships from Jewish Studies are a little different. They do have essays, and you do them after you've already gotten into the college. If you search CofC Jewish Studies scholarships, there's a whole page, or I'll paste it in here after I finish speaking. But that's a good place to look. And the nice thing too is that because everybody comes into the college undeclared, you don't have to be a major or minor to receive the scholarship. We hope that you will take classes and choose to be a major or minor with us. And before I hand it over to Yaron, which I'm not sure if Yaron is he in here yet? Yes, he is. I'll talk.
I'm here.
One more minute, Yaron, I promise. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going over a little bit, but
no, go ahead.
I should have started with, I'm sorry, if you can't tell, I really love my job and I could talk about it for a long time. But our structure at CofC is different. So typically there's a Hillel that's either part of the university, one of the university offices, or it's separate and it's its own nonprofit that operates in conjunction with the university, but separately, or it's totally tied into the university in student affairs or religious life. We are the only program in the country where Hillel is under Jewish Studies. And so that gives us a unique advantage to support students from every single angle. We don't let Jewish students slip through the cracks here. We are here to support you in every single way, academically, social, everything from when you are scholarships to help get you here, helping you find a roommate, helping you meet people when you first get to campus, partnering you up with the upperclassman mentor through like special celebrations for seniors as you graduate. We're here every step of the way. Being part of Jewish Studies has a lot of unique advantages. I love that I get to work, that I don't just get to work with other Hillel professionals. We are currently a staff of 2. But I also get to learn from really bright professors and other coworkers in the program. So even though it's a smaller Hillel staff, it's a part of a larger family, which is nice. I saw that there are a lot of questions and we will have time to get to those. I'm going to pass it over to Yaron now to talk a little bit about the best second major, which is Jewish Studies.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. It's really great to be here. Sorry, I missed the beginning. I was just teaching another class that ended a few minutes ago. And I can talk for 10 minutes, or I can just say, that's it. This is the place for all of you to go, and you just don't need any proof for it. I'm telling you, you just have to trust me and come here. But now let me be a little more serious. I worked at several positions As a professor, I am, I'm not a very good salesperson. I don't work in admissions. I'm a historian by training, but I have not had a better job like any time in my life. This is the most exciting place I've been to, and I think anyone who works here feels the same. This is we are really fortunate to be here. Well, let me tell you a little bit about our approach and why, when I say what I said at the beginning, that you don't need any other evidence, this really is the best place. Let me tell you why I truly believe in that. So our program, as Deb noted, is a place that is unique in the sense of how we are built and our relationship with the college. Not just because we're the only place in the country that partners with Hillel in such a way that Hillel is part of our program. Our program has existed for almost 30 years. In those 30 years, we have been consistently annoying other people. And by this, I mean that we do things differently than other people do them. I think this is an advantage. To me, I would never want to be in a place that does everything exactly as everybody else does. And I will, by the way, some of the questions here I can easily address, and I'll get to some of them, those that I've managed to read. But anyways, let me tell you this. We have been looking at reality a little differently. We have been innovating is really the word that we like to use in many, many different respects. And we treat our minor and our major as such. In other words, many other places would tell you, well, you're Jewish or you like Judaism and you should come and learn about Jewish texts and Jewish history and all that. And we say this is all very nice and you should do those things. We believe in it. But the real reason you should come and spend time with us and in our classes and as a minor and hopefully also a major is, one, because you can easily earn a second major with really most of the other majors at the college. In other words, it's not either or. You can do it. You can get yourself trained in whatever area really fascinates you, and you can get the extra benefit of studying with us. And what is that benefit? That we're going to help you think in this innovative way. I'll demonstrate this with a real life example. If you drive on a highway and you need to turn right, you need to take the next exit. Let's say there's a major event, I don't know, a football game or something, think pre-corona times, okay? And you need to turn right. There's a 3-mile long line on the right lane because everyone is trying to turn right. Now, you can be, or the driver, so to speak, is our program, okay? We can be like everybody else, stand in this long line and wait and spend 30 minutes of our lives, essentially throw away 30 minutes just waiting to turn right. Or we can say, well, there are two ways to look at this. You can wait 30 minutes, or you can do the not so very pleasant thing, which is you drive up to the start of the line and then you squeeze in. You saved 30 minutes, but you're not a very nice person, right? We say there's always another way. And that's how we think, and this is how we train our students. There is always a third way. There's always a different way to look at reality. There's always a solution to what appears to be impossible. And this type of thinking is what we give our students. Now, we have Jewish tradition and Jewish history and the Israeli entrepreneurial experience on our side. And that's the big advantage. This is why you should study with us. Not to mention that we're all very awesome teachers. I have to say that too. Now, this is some of the points I wanted to talk about, you guys already asked. And so I was planning to mention that anyway, so I'll address them now. In the past, to study with us, the only language you could take at the College of Charleston was Hebrew. We actually changed that last year. And there's essentially, we sort of lifted that requirement. And while there is a language requirement at the college, you can essentially major and of course minor with us with any language that you take. With almost any language. We prefer certain languages, but essentially it can be done with almost any language. There is a language requirement here, and we think it's a good thing, because part of thinking in this creative, outside the box way that we like to do, part of doing that is being exposed to other cultures and other languages and other traditions. That's how we get those ideas. We look at another society and another culture and we say, wait a minute, these guys do things very differently from how we do them here. And maybe it's better. Maybe they have it right and we got it wrong all this time. So anyways, that's how we look at it. Studying languages is inherently tied to study abroad, at least it was before the pandemic, and it will be again at some point. We have means to support our students in addition to whatever the college can do for you. If you are studying with us, if you're minoring or majoring with us, then you have many ways to get support from us beyond going on birthright and staying for study abroad, which is definitely an option. There are several other options. Our students, we had 2 who went to Tel Aviv University this past semester, and it happens almost every semester, except now it doesn't happen because no one is going, but it will happen again. And we are here to help, and we can do this. And our goal, which so far we've been able to meet, is that if someone needs to go and study abroad, either in Israel, or if it's someone who's majoring with us, maybe somewhere else, the economic ability won't be the issue preventing from that person going. And we are fortunate in our program because of a very strong support from the community that we can do that. And that's another point I'll touch on really briefly. We have a major support from the local Jewish community here. Many students really feel that they used to be active in their communities back home, and now they are almost part of or really part of a community that's here. There used to be more, and obviously there will be more once we can do more stuff with support from our community. That is important to us and will continue. There was a question also about anti-Semitism on campus. It's actually very easy to address. We don't have any. And that's really where it ends. We don't have anti-Semitism from the right, given what used to be traditional anti-Semitism in the South, I suppose. We don't have any of that. We don't have anti-Semitism from the left, namely BDS, anti-Israel activity and all that. And we don't have that in part because we are very good at what we do in building connections and maintaining the type of work that we do. And also Charleston, I believe, has the atmosphere where those things are just not tolerated. But beyond that, we have very good connections with the person who runs the Arabic program here, for instance. He's even taught a course in our program before. There is just, you don't see here what you see in other places, not in the Northeast, not in California, in the West. You don't see those kind of things around here. We have very robust debates about Israel, about Jewish identity. We do this through our events. We do this in our classes, but the perspectives are diverse. Anyone can bring and share their perspectives. It's important to us. And we don't limit, the kind of perspectives that we can bring to class with, or to our community events, with some very sort of extreme exceptions. We won't typically sponsor events with people who publicly call for the destruction of Israel, or Nazis and white supremacists and things like that. But in between those two extremes, there's a whole range, and we like to think of ourselves as a good place for having those kind of debates, and an open place where people can actually express their views and feel safe about them. And that's a good thing. If you ask people here, and I'm sure the students can say this, there's never been a security concern for Jewish students here. People feel safe here. That's how it has always been, and that's how it's going to be.
Can I just add one thing, Yaron?
Yes.
Just for some context.
Yes.
So South Carolina was one of the first colonies or at least the first colony in the South to have religious freedom. So it's the Jewish community has always been accepted here. We're the birthplace of Reform Judaism. One of the oldest continuous use shuls in the nation is right downtown, 2 blocks from campus. And just because of the way that South Carolina was written in the charter about, being accepting of all religions, Charleston is a safe place to walk around with your Magen David, or to wear your Charleston and Hebrew shirt. I find you may find that you're the first Jewish person that some of your classmates in other classes have met. That's okay. I find it has always been met with curiosity and never like hatred. Sometimes misinformation, but never in a malicious way. And I kind of like to describe Charleston in general as sort of like the Austin of Texas, very accepting and open to all people. In fact, we had our Pride celebrations last month. Charleston moved Pride from June to September because it's too hot to do a parade in June here. But it's really a place where you can be yourself and hold your identities proudly. So I just wanted to add that in, and then back to you, Yaron.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm not going to take too much more of your time. I'll just say this has been really a remarkable journey for me. I love this place, and I really do think that this is a great place to be. I honestly don't understand why we didn't get that much interest from as many Jewish students already 10 years ago, but it doesn't matter. We're not looking at the past, we're looking into the future, and the future is bright, and we have here a lot to offer, and I look forward to seeing all of you. By the way, we as professors in our program interact with a lot of students here who are not in our classes, but they're involved in our program in some way, and I think one of the remarkable things is that we are very big, like as an entity on campus. We have this very fabulous and pretty large building, but in terms of the number of people we serve, we're a fairly small program, and we will be much bigger, of course. But for now, the advantage of that is that we can give a lot of personalized attention to all of our students, and that's something we're really proud of. And I think that that's something that that you don't really find in many other places. So for me, that's I've always, I'm a teacher at heart, and I always like to work with students. And speaking of which, we have a few students here on the call with us, and they can. I'm not going to introduce them one by one because they can introduce themselves, and they'll do a far better job than I would. But they will, I assume, speak soon. I just want to say the last thing that I want to. I guess share with all of you is just I'll leave you with this one link to some of the sort of approach that we have. The link doesn't talk much about what you actually study with us, but our approach to innovative thinking, and it can take you to all sorts of interesting places. So I'll just leave that with you, and I'll end here. But I'm still on this call, so I'm happy to answer questions if they come up. So thank you.
Thank you, Yaron. All right. Well, I'm going to hand it back over to Deb now to introduce the student panel. Deb will be moderating the student panel tonight, and we have some great participants. So Deb and our panelists, I'm going to hand it off to y'all.
Yes, I am so introduce you to 4 superstar students. I guess we will go in this last name alphabetical order, and just if you could share your name, where you're from, and what you're majoring in, and what you're involved in, Jewish and not. So Shira, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Shira Fink. I'm a sophomore here at the College of Charleston, and I'm originally from around the Potomac Rockville area in Maryland. I am majoring in psychology and minoring in women and gender studies. And there are so many things to be involved here at the college. I'll make sure I get them all. But I am a co-founder of the Havara Club within Hillel. I highly recommend everyone to come. I'm also on the Frisbee team, and I'm a member of the Women's Health Research team. And I'm also a Perlmutter Fellow.
Awesome. Thank you, Shira. Charlie, would you introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Charlie Forstein. I'm a sophomore in the Honors College from New York, New York, studying international business and international studies with a concentration in global studies and a minor in Spanish. Other than my involvement in Jewish life on campus, I work an on-campus job through the Jewish Studies Department. I'm involved in Greek life, and last year I was involved in student government. So lots of points of connection outside of Jewish life.
And she's a tour guide.
And I'm a tour guide. Yeah. So if you come down for a tour, you can maybe have me. We can work it out.
Thank you, Charlie. Justin, take it away.
All right. Hi, y'all. I'm Justin Learman. I am a sophomore here from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a political science major, Jewish studies minor. And on campus, I am the president of the College Democrats here. I am also a sophomore senator in SGA. And of course, I'm involved in Hillel. And also last year, before COVID hit, I taught at the Reform Synagogue right a few blocks from here.
Thank you, Justin. And last but not least, Jared.
Hi, I'm Jared Chotel. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm a junior at the college, and I am involved in Hillel, I guess, obviously. I am the president of ZBT on campus, the Jewish fraternity. I am a supplemental instructor through the Center for Student Learning. Sorry, I always mess up those words. For anatomy and physiology. And I'm an exercise science major, Jewish studies minor. I'm involved in the PT club, the Holocaust Education and Remembrance Club on campus. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you all. Devin, if you would go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so have a bunch of questions. I'll read them out loud and then feel free to answer whichever ones you're comfortable with, but don't feel pressured to answer them all. I actually would like you all to answer the first one though, which is why did you choose CFC? In any order.
So I chose CFC because I personally come from a smaller Jewish day school, and I really loved the small class sizes offered at CFC and the really intimate feel of the whole college and how personalized everything was to you. I really also felt while talking to Rebecca and everyone else at the college that there wasn't anything I couldn't do. Any opportunity I was interested in, there would be someone there to help me get it. So it's just, there's always someone there to help you. So many resources, such a small, intimate feel. And those are the main reasons.
Awesome.
I can follow up on that. So I think I'm going to say like why I chose CFC and why I like stayed at CFC, because I think that's really important, not only why you come, but why you continue to stay. So the reason I chose CFC was when I was going through the application process, I felt like a lot of the schools were like name, statistic, maybe like what city you're from so they can have a more diverse output. And I really felt like CFC was more interested in me as Charlie and not me as applicant number 325. So I thought that was really important going through. I thought that they had my best interest at heart, the way that Shira was saying. And I think the reason that I continue to stay is because when I got here, it didn't stop. The feeling didn't stop. They really support you and your interests. Kind of exactly what Shira was saying, but to do what you want to do and to support you in the ways that are personalized to what you want to do. So for example, we have over 200 clubs on campus. And if your area of interest is not already presented on campus, it's really not hard to create a new one. So they want to see you do what is best suited to you.
All right, I'll take the next one. So for me, when I was like choosing schools, I had no idea of what I wanted out of a school at all. I mean, I was choosing between here and Alabama, which are two very different schools. But the one thing I knew I wanted was like a very big and very vocal Jewish community on or near campus. And CFC, I mean, we don't have that many big buildings on campus, but one of them, of the few, is the Jewish Studies Center, which you will undoubtedly visit many times if you come here. And I just thought that was really cool. And then also just the Jewish community around the city is very, very large and very, very welcoming. It's just a really, really neat place to be.
So my answer is a lot different than the rest of these people, which I kind of find funny. I also, similar to Shira, went to a small Jewish day school, and I kind of wanted to get away from that. I wanted to get outside of my own little Philadelphia bubble, and I wanted to experience the South, and I wanted to experience not knowing Jewish people everywhere I turned and everywhere I looked. And it's really showed me personally that I enjoy being close to Jewish people, and I really enjoy my Jewish heritage a lot more than I anticipated. And it's really taught me a lot about myself coming to the school. It's really sorted out for me what I'm into and what I'm not into. It's really helped me define myself. And that's the thing I always will credit the school for. It's that I wanted to leave my little bubble and figure out who I was. And I've totally figured that out here. And that's the main reason I stay here, as Charlie was talking about. And another reason I came, I wanted to go to the South. I wanted the warm weather. I wanted that whole deal. I wanted to live 15 minutes from the beach. And I love doing that. I go to the beach like every 2 weeks. So it's really nice. And that's kind of why I came and why I stayed.
Awesome. Can any of you speak to how being involved in Jewish life has enhanced your college experience?
I can start that one off. So I think what Jared said makes a lot of sense. I'm actually from Greenville, South Carolina originally. So I came from a really small Jewish population and then moved to New York at the end of my junior year and went to a pretty large Jewish population. And I felt like it was a big change and a lot of difference. That being said, I was super involved in NIFTY and Jewish youth group throughout high school. So I wanted a place where Judaism could be a thing for me, but not necessarily be the only thing I did. And I found my way back to being involved in a lot of Jewish things on campus. I felt like the Jewish community here is really accepting and very diverse. So obviously we all have the same religious beliefs, but everything from like politics to the things that we're interested in and the people you're going to meet is really interesting and cool. So I feel like it just gives me a whole different perspective on Judaism and other Jewish students in a way that I wasn't getting from my hometowns.
Great. Anyone else?
Hi. I have a really distinct memory from the first week here at college freshman year where I sat down for coffee with Deb. We all got an email saying, "You're welcome to have coffee with me." And I sat down with her and I pretty much said, here is a vision for something I would really like to have at the college. I really like having a small group of people to talk about Jewish life with, Jewish values. And essentially she said that we can do it. And it happened and didn't even take that long to make it happen. So the Jewish Studies Center is really there to help you accomplish anything, whether it's involved in the Jewish Studies Department in Hillel or in any other major. They're really just so supportive, so available to help you with any opportunity you want and to help you with study abroad and having a second major that caters to your first major or to a minor you have. So just the supportive atmosphere of Hillel and the Jewish Studies Center has been amazing.
Oh, shucks, Shira.
For me, I can go, Deb.
Great.
For me, my distinct memory, similar to Shira, was literally one of the first nights I was here. I went to a Hillel dinner because I came from the north. I didn't know one person at this school until I got here. So I was literally just looking for anybody that would hang out with me. And I went to the Hillel Shabbat dinners that are every Friday night. And I literally met two of my closest friends there. I still hang out with them almost every day. And I don't know if I'd have any friends without them. So literally coming and exploring Jewish life is the reason I have started to make friends at the school.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess we'll move on. And if people have thoughts later, jump right in. What do you love most about CFC in general?
So this is kind of repetitive, but I do love Hillel and the Jewish Studies Department a lot. On my Tuesdays and Thursdays, I spend all day in the Jewish Studies Center, and it's a great atmosphere to be surrounded by. But in addition to that, I really do love all the different opportunities you have on campus. As I spoke of in the beginning as to why I wanted to come here, it really did come true. And I don't want to make it sound like it's easy to get an internship or research or a job. You still do have to work for it and you still have to put in an application and a resume. But if you really want something, you will be able to get it. You just have to talk to the right people. And there are really amazing people at the Career Center. The heads of departments can be really great to talk to at times. And there's nothing you can't do if you really want it. I'm on the Frisbee team. I absolutely adore it. They're my family. And you will be able to find a club that really caters to you in any way. For me, having the Frisbee team as an athletic outlet was perfect. But there's an outdoors club, there's SGA, and there are many more that I don't even know about. So there will be a place for you no matter what.
I'll go ahead and say the thing, the little basic thing. The location is just spectacular. I mean, I was walking around today to go get coffee in shorts and t-shirt in the middle of October, and I happened to pass by like Outer Banks filming, just on the way 4 blocks from where I'm staying, right on campus, which is just incredible. Just the city itself is so welcoming to everyone at the college, and you're also right on like in the middle of downtown Charleston, which, I mean, there are no words for that. It's beautiful.
So not necessarily my favorite thing. I'll get to my favorite thing in a second, but probably my second favorite thing is that CofC really loves giving out free stuff. So for example, I'm wearing a Hillel t-shirt. I have 2 in 2 different colors. I get a free t-shirt every time I go to a sports game. There's free toilet paper, free laundry, free Wi-Fi, like so much stuff that they just want to give to you for resources. I have probably like 4 dozen CofC t-shirts. It's really great. I could probably wear one every single day of every month and not wear the same one. And my favorite thing about CofC is how dynamic the school is. So I think Justin, free food. Yeah, Shira, great. I think Justin said it best. We're in a great location. I like to call it a city sprawl campus. I know it's technically an urban campus, but we have our campus center and then we're right in the heart of downtown Charleston. Jared said we're 15 minutes from the beach. So location is a lot of great stuff, but not just that, our education is super interdisciplinary. So our gen ed requirements do require you to like take a little bit more stuff, which in the end makes you more well-rounded. So like, I would never study science and I know some stuff about biology because I had to take that. And I think that's super neat to like spit out a fact about like mitochondria as being the powerhouse of the cell. Like, why would you know that? But I just think it's super great to have such a dynamic school. It does it all.
Carly, you're right up my alley with that biology stuff. The thing I love most about CofC is the fact that I can be an individual. Honestly, I love that I am able to kind of put my imprint on the college, and that if I've put myself out there on many different fronts, and I feel like I've really made my imprint and I'm like known on campus to certain people that matter. So when I need help from them or I need a letter of recommendation or something like that, I know people I'll be able to go to because I've made my imprint on them and on the rest of the school. And I feel like that's something I've wanted, whereas if you go to like a big school, like, I don't know, University of Maryland, Penn State, something like that, like where the school is 50,000 people, it feels so hard to make a large imprint on a school like that. Whereas at our school, I feel like I put myself out there. I got myself involved in a few different things, and I've really made my imprint on the college. That's my favorite thing about the school.
And I'm going to add a quick thing, if that is okay.
Sure.
As a psychology major, I know how complicated the mind is. And at the college, we are very fortunate to have an amazing counseling center, which is something I've recently learned that not all of my friends have at their colleges. So I recommend that everyone is able to go to counseling at least once in college because it's such a crazy transition. And the fact that we have a center here to support that is just incredible.
Let me just add on to that real quick.
Free.
Not only is it all free, there's also like, we have Students for Support on campus. We can literally just like send them a text, tell them what's up, and they will talk to you very joyous. Like they will help you out. They're incredible. Great things. Yeah.
Awesome. So it hasn't been too long since you guys were in these prospective students' shoes. So do you have any advice about the college application process and or the application and or decision process? I didn't add that in here, but I'll give my little 2 cents and then I'll let you all answer. But and it's hard during Corona world, but my advice is if you can visit all the schools after you get in, even if you visited them before you got in. I think it's important to visit at a point where you could like really be like, okay, can I see myself here for the next 4-ish years? And there's something about it that doesn't feel quite real until you have the acceptance. And to stay overnight with a student if you can, which Hillel Jewish Studies can help you arrange, at least here, and I believe at most schools too.
Some advice I would give personally is I would say to be open-minded. Don't be afraid to try and figure out who you are. Don't be afraid to take a risk and look at a school that you might have never expected to go to. Don't be afraid of taking a risk and be as open-minded as possible. You never know, you might find something you like, or you may find something you don't like, and then you'll know more about yourself afterward. So I would say just don't be afraid to take a risk and stay open-minded.
I would say, first off, for everyone here going through the process, to take just a deep breath. And as annoying as it is to hear, but try to relax and really enjoy the process. This is an exciting decision as much as it is a stressful one. And I have so many friends who didn't get into their top choices or had to choose a different college for economic reasons or social reasons, travel, and they're really all happy where they are now. Everyone finds their place. And it is as much as what you do at the college that you attend as it is the college itself. So just know that you'll be okay at the end of the day, and you'll be able to make your impact wherever you are.
Y'all really hit it all, but the best advice, choose CFC.
I was gonna say that also.
I wanted to add in, I know we're all completely biased and we all love CofC. I mean, I don't know if you can tell from the enthusiasm in our voice or see the sparkle in our eyes over Zoom, but really this is just an amazing and supportive community. But like I said a little bit before, choose a place where you feel like they're gonna support you and your endeavors and accept you as a person and not just a statistic. I think everybody finds a place that they're meant to end up, and usually that place is a place that's going to support you in your personal goals and growth.
That is excellent advice all around. Thank you. And about the Jewish Studies program, because I think you guys are all majors or minors. So what is special about the Jewish Studies program, and why would you choose to take a course there, or major or minor? Or why did you personally choose to do that?
So I can give a little bit of like an overview. Sorry, I know that Yaron said it a little bit earlier, but Jewish Studies is the best second major on campus. It's a super easy and doable major or minor. I don't know if you guys are looking at courses or anything, but 36 credit hours is not too much. It's really doable. And that's what our major is. And the minor is 18, which is how many classes?
6.
6 classes for a minor. That's really not much at all.
And there's double counting too.
That's double counting. So everything counts for humanities, like Yaron said. So it's really easy to fulfill your requirements through Jewish Studies. And not just that, the professors at Jewish Studies also have an open door policy. So they're really accessible to you. They're here to talk to you and help you be the most successful student you can be. So I think that between the classes and the professors, it's a really great place to learn.
I mean, my door is open even now and there's no one in the building.
Just add on to that 6 classes thing. When you come to the school as a freshman, you have to take 2 history classes and then your language requirements. Just by completing those and doing Jewish history, pre and postmodern, and then Hebrew, you have the minor. Like that's it, that easy. But also these professors are some like the smartest people I've ever talked to in my life. Yaron, Professor Shane, y'all are all brilliant, and it's incredible to like hear the lecturing.
What?
I wouldn't go that far about my brilliance, but okay, that's fine. I'll accept it.
I personally love, sorry, my dog is in the background. I've loved the classes I've taken through the Jewish Studies department because they're hard, which is not a reason you'd expect me to say, but they really have challenged me in a lot of ways where I would not personally challenge myself, especially I consider myself a super math and science mind. And I'm entering in classes which are primarily primary source and discussion based, which is not something I am naturally gifted in, but it has really pushed me to work on those things which are needed in any major you take. You can avoid them as long as you not want, but you're going to have to write an essay, many of them. So that is one of the reasons I love the department. Another reason is because when you start looking at job opportunities, which sounds really scary, and I don't want you to think about that right now, but the amount of opportunities that exist within the Jewish community are so vast. And to be able to have some Jewish classes or a Jewish studies minor or major on your resume can really open up so many doors that you didn't even know existed. And there are so many things that you can do within the Jewish community, within a major. I could be a psychologist at a synagogue somewhere. I mean, there are so many different opportunities that could be opened up to you through those courses.
Can I just add something? I just want to say on that last point, we don't mean to pressure anyone, of course, or to get you stressed out, but I would say one of the things we do in this program, and I think it's an advantage, is that we start having conversations with our students on their first year. Well, what are you doing after college? And not, there are very few people that do that. Everyone talks to seniors in college about what's next year. We start that conversation in freshman year because we really feel, and we'll have it with anyone. You don't have to be a major or minor with us. You can take one course and you'll have that conversation with us. But we really believe that this is part of a good support system that we need to provide, and we're very committed to that. And to me, that's a big advantage. So just wanted to point that out.
And it's a helpful conversation, not a stressful one. You'll also be offered ideas of what you can do with the things you love. It's not only what will you do, but it's a fun conversation. It's a very helpful one.
So for me, I forgot to mention earlier, I'm also the Hebrew tutor for the school. So another that I love that the material is challenging enough where I actually have a part-time job of just tutoring students in Hebrew. And I have some students that come to me and they always need help with certain things. And I think it's great that the Hebrew classes are challenging enough to where people seriously need help with them, because A, it pays me, and B, it shows that the school is serious about their Jewish studies education rather than just kind of throwing easy A Jewish studies classes at you.
Amazing. That's all the questions that we had prepared, but let's go through the chat and make sure that we didn't miss anyone. And feel free to add more questions to the chat or unmute yourself and ask. I think that's, if you have that capability. I'm not sure if you do.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, amazing.
It can be general college questions too, or like about the process.
This is
We'd
your
be happy
chance
to talk.
ask real college students, real things.
We went through what you guys are going through.
Oh, so there was a question about Passover that I just got. So I wanted to touch on, and it was mentioned in the slide, but I didn't speak to it too much about Jewish holidays and how we celebrate them here. So we have Shabbat every week, and we have the Shabbat dinner, and then we have student-led services. And for holidays, we do all of the meals at Hillel, but because we don't have a Jewish educator on campus, students go to one of the 6 or 7 local synagogues. We help arrange the transportation to get you to a synagogue at a denomination of your choosing. The synagogues this is all not in Corona world, but the synagogues are all very welcoming and love to have students. And I like that we're able to give students choices on where they want to pray for the holidays. And then for Passover, that one thing to know is that while we don't have Passover food in the dining hall set aside, Hillel has 3 meals a day for all 8 days. So we have breakfast kits. You can come pick up lunch and have dinner every day. That'll be totally kosher for Passover, all 8 days, free of charge, thanks to the generous support of our community. And so some of these things about Jewish life too, you might be thinking like, well, I don't really care about that, or like, I don't even keep kosher for Passover. I think it's important to know, because once you get to college and you're on your own, especially if it's a community, if you're here somewhere that's different than your home community, things become important to you, or you might miss things that you didn't expect to miss. So knowing that there's always a place to celebrate the holidays, that there's a sukkah to hang out in, there's food available for you every week. We're here. So I want to stress that. And somebody,
I can touch on a few of the questions in the chat.
Yeah, the Learning Specialty Center. So what is it? It's called SNAP.
The Center for Disability Services is accessible on campus. Students with disabilities have priority registration on campus. And also there are some specific classes that'll help you with your learning style. Extended time is a thing that we have on campus. So it's really accessible for all students to what your needs would be. And Charlie, as far as Greek life, GPA requirements are based by sororities. So you will go through formal recruitment in the fall. Typically you move up a week early and go through formal recruitment. It's super easy to get involved in. I'm in a Greek life organization. It's as much as you want to put into it. So if you just want to be in it, it's awesome. And if you want to be super involved, it's also really doable. So I recommend that. They have an Instagram page. It's at CofC Panhellenic that I recommend checking out.
Typically at Shabbat, right now we've been doing to-go meals. The students come and get their meal in a little Shabbat kit. About 40 to 50 students every week for that. Unfortunately, we can't all eat together, but that's about how many we would have in person typically too.
Though, if I can add, we have had, not only on holidays, but some special occasions where the numbers are significantly higher, and they'll continue to grow if I can predict.
Shayna, for your question, so as far as class stuff is going on, we have hybrid classes, which means that like sometimes they're in person, sometimes they're online. It's up to the discretion of the department and the teacher. So like when you register for classes, they tell you what kind of class you'll be taking. So all of mine except one are online, and that's just for social distancing. But socially, we're still putting on events on campus. They're socially distant. So we have this thing called the Cougar Activities Board, and they do events about once a week. So there's yoga with the president this Friday, there's painting next Friday. So you can like go to the student center, pick up supplies, and then do the activities on Zoom. And also we have a ton of outdoor spaces, and I don't know if you saw it on one of the earlier slides, but our weather's pretty nice here all year round. So it's super easy to sit in an outdoor space, like Rivers Green, which is the green space next to our library, 6 feet from your new friends, and like chat up a storm. It's super easy to be outside and meet new people.
Yeah, and in addition to what Charlie said, I know this might sound hard to believe, but some of the funniest and most fun times have been actually studying with my friends at places like Rivers Green, or before COVID inside the library. I think that how you stated how not just academically, but also socially, I think those two things actually really coexist. I think that a lot of the times studying makes for a really nice social environment, especially during COVID. You can do study rooms over Zoom, or you can go to the green and sit outside on blankets. Right now we have these awesome tents set up. I go almost every day with my dog, and we just sit there, and my friends will pass by and you can talk outside. So it's really, I don't want to say easy to, because everything is difficult right now, but it is very doable.
Charlie, did you want to share in the chat to the social media accounts for people to follow? Wasn't that something that you talked about?
Why don't you go ahead and put in the Jewish Studies Instagram and the
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know them off the top of my head, or I would have.
Rose, just on your question about cars on campus, My roommate has a car. We live off campus. I think I've used it maybe twice so far this semester, and once was last weekend going to get cookout. You do not need one here on campus. Everything is in walking or biking different distance. Just even that's a stretch. You can walk anywhere.
Which is really nice for internships and jobs, that you're able to do them, as early as freshman year, because there's so many places to walk to, and lots of people hiring.
Also, addressing Adina's question about Shomer Shabbat, I have not met anyone who is Shomer Shabbat. I know there are people who are on campus who are Shomer Shabbat. But also I have actually found a lot of friends who want to just try Shabbat. And I'm sure if you do keep Shabbat, you will have friends who will want to do that along with you. And at home, I did keep Shabbat, and I know that there are many ways to be able to have a really nice Shabbat on campus. There's Hillel dinner. You can walk to the green. There are so many pretty sites in walking distance, and you'll definitely be able to find people to celebrate Shabbat with.
And there is an Orthodox shul downtown. There's a handful of students who go on, because we currently don't do Saturday morning services. There's like one or two students who go every week, or pre-corona we're going to the Orthodox shul, so that they could have a minyan, and it's walking distance from campus, which is really nice.
Let me just add on that point. It is very important for us that anyone who comes here feels at home and gets to live the life, the Jewish life that they want to live. Last year, for example, we had a student, he's not here now, whose standards of kosher food were higher than the ones we were serving. And so we actually got special meals ordered for that student from our city's kosher caterer, because we wanted that person to be part of the meals and sit with everybody else. And we will do that. We'll do whatever it takes to have everyone included. And if there's anything that anyone comes here and says, this is how I do things, and something is missing, then that's one of the nice things about our program. You tell us about that and we make it happen. We'll make it happen for you, whatever it is that you need.
We will make it happen. And the dining hall is fully kosher certified by an Orthodox. There's actually like a koshering certificate out of Charleston with Orthodox rabbi. So that's totally kosher. And then the kosher caterer, Hill brings in once a week or once every other week to one of our weekly meals, a kosher meat meal. So this week it's chicken stir fry, sometimes it's spaghetti and meatballs. And then when there's a chef cooked dinner at Hillel, it's dairy. It's not, or dairy or parv. It's not always necessarily like the cheese has the kosher stamp. But first, as Yoram was saying, we are happy, just like we would provide for somebody who has a gluten allergy, or someone who has, a higher kosher standard. We're happy to accommodate.
Charlie, I saw your question about having a pet on campus. If it's a service animal, then you can have a pet on campus. But I think other than that, it might be like fish. I had a few friends who had service dogs, but having animals on campus is not super common. And Jordana, I just wanted to touch on your transfer question. Both of my roommates are transfer students and they're doing great. The Transfer Resource Center is super helpful, and it's not hard to get involved on campus, even in COVID. So it shows you that if it wasn't in COVID, it would be even easier. So they're transfer and they're doing perfectly fine.
Yeah, you're allowed to have one fish in your dorm, or like one aquarium. But I can tell you, I don't think there's yet to be a time where I've walked out of my dorm or apartment building where I've not seen a dog.
Yeah, I mentioned my dog because I live off of campus. And there are always dogs at Rivers Green for him to play with. And you will not have a lack of dogs. Also, sometimes the counseling center, before COVID, they did have puppy therapy in which they would bring dogs in to play with. So you will be able to see dogs. I know that was something really important to me, as silly as it sounds. You will get your dog fix.
And one thing unrelated to dogs that Charlie just made me think of with her two roommates is I don't believe either of them are Jewish, correct? Your transfer student roommate?
No, they're not Jewish, but they do come to every Hillel event.
Yeah, so I see them. There are some Hillel regulars who come for meals and programming, who are not Jewish, and who are curious and respectful and hungry. And I feel like Hillel is doing a good job if Jewish students are comfortable bringing their non-Jewish friends into Jewish spaces, because that can be really hard to sort of combine your identity or show like a personal side of yourself. And so I think it's really awesome that Charlie and many other students feel comfortable bringing their non-Jewish friends. And I think that also just helps with the general like acceptance and like on campus, like everyone knows that Hillel dinners are Wednesday and Friday and everyone's welcome.
I think it's a testament to how open-minded and accepting our campus is. I know that was a concern earlier, but it's not just for Jewish students, Hillel programming. We really do have a really supportive community. Jordana, to your question, about 90% of freshmen live on campus. So some freshmen do live off campus, but it's super recommended to be close to downtown, and it's a great way to meet new people. But if you wanted to live at Sky Garden, that's totally doable.
Yeah, I would say one of the benefits of being on campus is the location. You're right next to King Street. And also, personally, as a freshman, I know that time management was difficult to begin with. Again, there's a big adjustment period, and it is helpful to be really close to campus and to your classes. That being said, I do know a lot of freshmen this year are living off campus, and they do seem to be doing fine as well.
I met Cher the first week of freshman year. We lived on the same hallway. So
Yeah.
living on campus is a really great way to meet other Jewish students.
If there are any more questions, we'll take those. If not, if Devin or Rebecca want to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'm always so impressed by the student perspective. So big thanks to our student panelists and to all of our guests who submitted some wonderful questions, some things that we often don't even think about that you all are considering. So it's definitely good food for thought for all of us. But we just want to thank you all again for joining us. We know that a lot of you are still doing virtual school and Zoom exhaustion is real. And so we so appreciate you taking the time to join us this evening. And hopefully you've learned more about not only the College of Charleston in general, but specifically about Jewish student life on campus and how we can be there for you. Again, I know I mentioned this earlier, but if you haven't visited campus and you're not able to get physically on campus right now, we do have a virtual tour online. You can reach out to any of your admissions counselors, depending on where you're from. Everyone on this call tonight and all of those who are not, we're all here for you. So with that, we'll conclude this evening's event. Be on the lookout for a few more events we'll be having this fall, not necessarily specific to Jewish student life, but for students who are considering applying to the college. Hope you all have a good evening. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.